on here, and also Lion Kathleen Breen. We're all going to be sort of the Kathleen's waving there. She's going to be the magician behind the screen, behind this that you can't see there. And we're going to ask everybody to go on and mute yourselves. And so that we can save on some of the internet in the universe, if everybody could turn off their camera, we're hopefully going to get through this without a whole lot of buffering, because we have a lot to talk about tonight. So with that said, Bob Jones, would you like to unmute yourself and start this shindig off?
They're asking us to turn it off.
We might have lost Bob from the get-go.
I'm right here.
Oh, there you are.
Welcome, Lions of Multiple District 22, and thank you for watching the Leader Dog presentation. Don't forget, after we're all done, we're going to have 3 drawings. One of them is for $650 to the winner. And then the other 2 are these stuffed puppies that you'll see a little bit later on. I would like to thank the Council of Governors for allowing us to put this on through the multiple district. And 22A, we have District Governor Jim Kemp.
Turn that light off.
22B, we have District Governor Dr. Wayne Benjamin. In 22C, we have District Governor Ruth Moses. 22D, District Governor Tony Lee. And 22W is DG Barbara Brimingen. So let's get the show started with our Lion liaison, Beth Slade.
Thank you, Bob, and Cheryl also in the background there. So this is really kind of exciting because I'm not usually at the MD22 rallies. I'm usually at the convention. So this is kind of exciting that I get to attend this time. And we want to give a real big shout out first, because I know they're also on here, is to our Top Dog clubs, because you know I never am going to miss an opportunity to thank them. Dewey Beach and also Claymont, and to all of the clubs that have already donated this year. I just want to start everything off with a huge thank you. So what we're going to do tonight is we are going to start off with just kind of going over a little bit of an elevator speech. That'll be my part, a little bit of the history, how we serve our clients, and then we're going to move right into what we're going to call our pathway to independence. And we're going to introduce our guest speaker tonight, Jeff Hawkins, who you all, many of you all do know already. And he's had quite an adventure this year. If we haven't all had an adventure this year, Jeff's had an even greater one. So he's going to share that. And if you have your chat screen up, if you have any questions throughout, Kathleen's going to be monitoring the chat, even if you have questions for Jeff afterwards, and we will wrap everything up with questions and answers at the end. So with that said, I think pretty much everybody on here may know this, but just in case, over 80 years ago, there was a local lion here in Michigan who needed to get a guide dog, couldn't do it. So his fellow lions said, well, we're going to go find someone who can help you out. And they started what is today a very grassroots organization at the time, Leader Dogs for the Blind. There is a picture up on the screen of our 3 founding lions, past international president S.A. Dodge, past District Governor Charles Nutting, and past District Governor Donald Schur. There's also a picture on the right of our first class back in 1939 after we were incorporated. So we've come a long way, but that entire time it started with lions, and even today, lions are a huge part of our partnership. Not only do lions get the word out that we serve people in their communities, obviously, you know, you fundraise, you help get our clients to and from. It's such a great partnership. We also have puppy raisers on the screen tonight. So it's a really integral part. And whatever we talk about tonight, I hope you take it back to the rest of your club members, because this is a legacy that everybody that's on here should be really, really proud of. So we're going to move ahead. How do we serve, right? There are 1.3 million people who are blind or visually impaired in the United States. Every year, we have a lot of people to serve. So how do we do that? We have 3 programs. Obviously, our guide dog program, which Jeff is going to talk a little bit about tonight. We also have orientation and mobility, which is our white cane training. We've been really boosting our numbers with the orientation and mobility or white cane training, because Lions have been partnering us with their local divisions for blind and visually impaired. And that has been a very successful partnership as well. And of course, you know, we have the summer experience for teens. So I'll give you a little bit of overview of what we've been doing since the pandemic has started, we had to close down. We got a couple of classes in the beginning of our fiscal year, same fiscal year as the Lions. For the winter months, we ended up only being able to deliver services to our clients that lived in places that the numbers were not trending up. So we did a lot of home deliveries. We've even done, actually, we're in the process of doing one in Canada right now. We can't get to Canada, but we've partnered with CNIB out of Canada, who is, we're able to take one of our dogs and are delivering it to a client of ours in Canada. So we've had to do a lot of shifting. As we speak right now, we've had our first class this calendar year on campus. These were clients that could drive in, even though we do have one as far away as Colorado. There is one client who's in class right now who has come back for their 10th leader dog. So that's sort of a little bit of a theme of tonight's conversation as well, is that this pathway to independence can be a very long pathway, and we're pretty proud of that. Our summer experience for teens, because our teenagers couldn't come on campus, we were able to open it up this year. That summer experience for teens is usually for kids that are 16 and 17 years old. Because they didn't have to come on campus, we did a week-long virtual summer camp for kids 14 to 17. And we had 3 times as many kids from all over the country. And it was a really spectacular event that we hope to replicate again this year. So that's, we've been pivoting. We use the word pivot a lot and being innovative throughout this time. But with that said, I'm just going to give you a little snapshot. This is a lot of information on the screen right here. These are some of the clients that we have served and are serving in MD22. And I know you guys are all the way across Maryland, DC, and Delaware. So I just broke it out by state. So just so that you all know, all of our programs and services are 100% free for our clients. We are 100% philanthropically funded. We don't receive government funding or insurance. So this is a pretty good return on investment for any of your people that live in the MD22 area. They can come and get services. It doesn't matter how long they need our services, but it's not going to cost them anything. So everybody reach back, pat yourselves on the shoulder, because that's your very good hard work. So as I was talking about the pathway of independence, on average, the working career life, that's the working career life of a leader dog, is between 6 and 8 years. Can obviously go longer, sometimes it's shorter, but on average it's 6 to 8 years. And clients can come back to us multiple times. We have a young woman who is in Virginia, Brooke Coleman, as a matter of fact, and she's come to us for camp. She's come for orientation and mobility, and she just got her first guide dog. So we like to think that we're there for every stage of someone's need. There's 2 pictures up on the screen right now. Some of you might know her. This is Lion Pauline Ulrey. A couple of years ago, she was the Lion of the Year for Indiana. There's a picture on the left of Pauline coming to get one of her first leader dogs back in 1963. She said it's okay if I show this picture, by the way. And there's a picture on the right. She said it was okay. There's a picture on the right-hand side of Pauline coming to get her most current leader dog in 2019. So that's over 50 years that we've been able to serve many, many clients. So we're really proud of that. So our next one, we're going to go on and get to the real meat of the program tonight. I should say the dessert of the program tonight. And I'm going to turn this over to my colleague, Lion Mike Dengate, to make the introductions. Mike?
Thank you, Beth. Our clients in general are the most courageous people I've ever met. And it's not just the courage they exhibited in their former life as an EMT, or the fact they still play hockey or ski or backpack despite their vision loss, but it's the courage it takes to pick up the telephone and call Leader Dog. It's the courage to come on campus for orientation mobility training that Beth described a few minutes ago. It's the courage it takes to come back and place their safety in the paws of a dog that's going to guide them safely across the busy street. And it's the courage to face the seemingly unbearable loss of your leader dog and start all over again. If I were ever in a foxhole and could pick one person to help me fight that battle and get out, I'd pick Jeff Hawkins, because he has the fortitude, the courage to find a way out. The video you're going to see in a minute is a profile in courage. Beth, if you would, please.
In 2010 or so is probably when I hit my my lowest point in my life dealing with the vision loss. I had to quit a job that I loved. I had lost my driver's license. I basically lost myself. I quit doing all the things that I loved doing. I honestly never thought that my life would ever return to anything really normal. I never thought I'd get back to who I really was. So it was not good. And but the excitement of knowing that I was involved with the organization and going to meet this dog who I had no clue what kind of dog, what breed, what sex, what color, nothing. And I just knew that I was going to lead her dog. I got up the next day and I met this dog, you know, a knock on the door, and inbound came the 16-month-old beautiful yellow lab Gracie, and she licked and she spun and she licked the tears off my face. It was a fantastic week to just begin to work that first week working with Gracie, and then it was just onward and upward from there.
It just took all that away, you know, and that he could go off and walk to a store or walk to a restaurant or whatever and get there, and that she could help get him across the road, that he wasn't going to get hit by a car.
And it took time. It probably took 6+ months before I got to the point where I didn't even think about this dog on my side. I mean, it's just incredible. I could just walk with my head up. And even Linda would say, look at how tall you're standing up.
After 8 years together, Jeff noticed that Gracie began having trouble guiding.
Right toward the end of November, I noticed walking around the house that I noticed walking around the house that Gracie was starting to bump into me. You know, that's weird. She is now totally blind. And when Gracie lost her sight, I very quickly realized that I was falling back, I mean, really fast into those old sort of like, oh, I'm not comfortable going out. I'm not comfortable being around people. I don't want to do this anymore. And I was so frightened that I was going to digress all the way back to that horrible point.
Jeff knew it was time to let Gracie retire and get a new leader dog.
I want to just go to that comfort level that I had with Gracie right off the bat, that total trust factor. But I also know that's not going to be true. So, a little uneasy about that.
Jeff took another trip to leader dog to meet his new guide, friend, and companion, Loki.
So the moment where the client gets to meet the dog for the first time is a really special, emotional moment for everybody. And you get this great feeling that it's going to work when, you know, that dog walks into the room, sees the client for the first time. They're excited. They walk up to them, get lots of pets and cookies.
It was fantastic to see that dog come around the corner in the room there and meeting him for the first time, and the amount of emotions that go through that moment and that day, and quite frankly the night before, being unable to sleep and anxious and just all these different emotions. But to see Loki come around that corner after everything that I've gone through in the last month or so was just unbelievably uplifting. My biggest fear was that the dogs wouldn't get along and I would have to consider maybe rehoming Gracie, which would have destroyed me. And so the best part of that night was seeing these two dogs meet, come together, play, wrestle a little bit, and just kind of go their separate ways and lay down and respect each other's space. It's an unbelievable feeling to see that light at the end of that dark tunnel, to know that things are going to be all right again, and I'm going to find myself again. And my plan is to continue my personal mission, which is to be out there in the streets, in the community, in other states, around the country, wherever I can be, to advocate again for the blind and visually impaired.
I'm so grateful that they're there. They've done so much for us, for our family, and for Jeff, and I think they're fantastic.
I love life and I love people, and I can already tell that this guy is going to be the same way.
Jeff,
Yes.
are you ready to chime
Was it
in?
me? Oh, yeah, no, nobody poked me in the side. I was falling asleep. No, what an absolute joy to have the opportunity to speak with you all again. And I'm sure you feel the same, that you all wish we could all be doing this live and seeing each other, because a lot of you I met, I think it was 4 years ago that I was out there. And it was just a very fast pace, but a phenomenal 4 or 5 days that I spent going from meeting or banquet to banquet. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I got a bit of a new story to share tonight, and I'm a little wore out. I am down in Florida with my son and his family. And so I spent the day in the ocean with a 4-year-old grandson and an 8-year-old granddaughter jumping and climbing all over me in 10-foot waves. But we're having a blast down here, and I'm happy to join y'all. I hope that you feel that video you just watched is powerful as what it is to me. And I'm the character, and I still get choked up in the part realizing when Gracie was going to have to retire. But I think it's important that I know, because some of you have not heard my story before, so I just like to briefly touch on some of the very beginning things so you can kind of get a lay of the land and understand who I am. And Beth was right. It was a tough year last year for me. I mean, as we all dealt with the pandemic, obviously, which is a pain and a thorn in everybody's side. And I hope and pray that y'all got through it healthy. But I also lost a significant amount of sight last year. So from when I was out there 4 years ago, I'm a heck of a lot blinder now than what I was then. So I've been kind of trying to come to grips with that, even though I know it's coming. And that's a common denominator for a lot of people that begin to lose their sight. And, as it gets worse over time, you're constantly dealing with those vision changes. But the bottom line is, as that video did mention, things were just cruising along just fine. Gracie was working, getting ready to start about her 10th year of working. And I mean, absolutely fine, healthy, doing great. And all of a sudden, we were walking in a Costco, and Gracie ran smack dab into the side of somebody's shopping cart. And my initial reaction was, wow, okay, maybe, Gracie, you're not paying attention here, and maybe you are going to retire a little early. I really envisioned breaking a leader dog record and having a 15-year-old guide dog walking around at my side, but it wasn't meant to be. And then she started bumping into me a little more, and literally within inside of a week to 10 days, Gracie lost her sight. And so it was very abrupt, and it hit so hard that it was difficult for me to even figure out what the next step was, or what was going to happen next, or how I'm going to deal with this stuff. I eventually, after I realized that something was very serious wrong, after about a week of her running into things, I sent an email to Melissa Weiss, who I know a lot of you do know, a panic email, if you will, explaining the situation. And that's really when that leader dog machine started to run, and I mean run. Inside of an hour of sending that email, I received a phone call from Melissa saying, oh my gosh, what's going on? I told her everything. Inside of an hour of that, I was speaking with Dr. Smith, who was one of the veterinarians there at Leader Dog. Melissa set that up for her to call me, and I explained things. And Dr. Smith said, yep, something's wrong. You need to get her. I said, can she come there? I can take her to my own vet, but honestly, I'm so freaked out. I just want to bring her there. And she said, absolutely. And so the very next day, I was in the office there and seeing Dr. Wilson. And he took her back. I couldn't go in because of the pandemic, and had to go out and wait in the car with my son. And those were some anxious moments. even though I set myself up for the worst news, and eventually my phone rang in the car, and it was the news I expected, and it wasn't good. That Gracie had lost a significant amount of her sight, and something very serious was wrong. And they were anticipating maybe perhaps some sort of cancer or something at that point. Dr. Wilson said, I want you to go down to this ophthalmologist in downtown Rochester. And I said, well, you mean I can go there right now? He said, yep, they're waiting for you. This is the same ophthalmologist that I had called the same morning and tried to get an appointment, and was told that a new dog appointment was not available for 3 months. And yet Leader Dog got me in there within 3 minutes, if you will. And so my son took me down there, and they took Gracie in, and she was examined, and we did some blood work. Originally, they thought maybe it was a tick-borne thing, and so we did more blood work, and I had to wait a couple of days for that. They did tell me that if that comes back negative, that we're surely dealing with some sort of systemic cancer or systemic disease of some sort. And excuse me, that call came, and all the blood work was normal, and so we figured that it's probably some kind of cancer. And then we discussed the options from there. And you got to remember, this is all within honestly within 10 days time. A lot of information being thrown at me real fast, and so all I knew is that in my panic, in the back of my head, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And honestly, God, the only thing that I kept thinking and telling myself is that don't worry, your dog is there, no matter what. They had already, several people had already reached out to me, and I knew they were going to be there no matter what was going to happen. They were going to be there. And so I talked to Melissa, and within a day, I was talking with David Lachlan, who maybe perhaps some of you know, who was I was able to ask all my questions about what's next and how's this going to go. And he says, well, you should at least put in an application. And I'm like, holy crap, it's been 10 days. And he said, well, you should still at least get your name in. And it took me probably 2.5 weeks before I actually submitted the application. I felt so guilty because this dog, Gracie, had given me so much, every really productive year of her life. And now I'm sort of like going to push her off. And this is the way I perceived it, push her off to the side and try and bring in another guide dog. And it just absolutely, I couldn't sleep. And I'm not being melodramatic here either, folks. I mean, it was a horrible, horrible time. But again, all I knew in the back of my head, I kept leaning on the fact that it's going to be fine because these guys are here. And of course, you guys make this place being here, and you can't not mention that. But I knew they were going to be there, and I put the application in. And as I waited, I got sicker and sicker feeling because I did start to digress back to some of those, like, I don't want to go back to those depressive days, those dark days where I was going from window to window and lose that person that I found again. The guy Mike was talking about, skiing, golfing, playing hockey, hiking, backpacking, boating, everything. I didn't want to lose who I was. I'd done that, and I didn't like it. And so eventually I got the call from Leader Dog, and they said, we think we have a perfect match for you. And I said, fantastic. And they did say, do you have any preferences originally? And I said, well, I really would like another female yellow lab because, of course, I'm trying to mirror my Gracie. I want another Gracie. And but ultimately, again, as the video showed, I was introduced to Loki, who was a 16-month-old yellow lab male. So he's a boy. So that's okay. It's turned out to be just fine. And so I started the training process. Being that I'm a past client, I didn't need to have quite as much training. And so as a matter of fact, they were going to do 10 days, and I ended up only doing 9. because to be honest, I said, I don't know. Do you really need me to come back? Do you really need to see me walk down another street or another sidewalk? I think I'm ready to go jump into this and see what we're going to do. I was so excited to get working with another dog and to get Loki home and to see how this transition was going to go as far as Loki and Gracie went. And it just went fantastic. And so at 9 days before I even finished, before I even signed my contract, I did a short news interview with Fox News. Loki and I and some of the people from Leader Dog did a news clip for the local channel here. And I thought, fantastic, because Loki, you're jumping right back. You're jumping right in where Gracie left off. Gracie was a great ambassador for Leader Dog for the Blind, and I know a lot of you had met her. That dog, Gracie, was just dynamic. She just drew people toward her. She just had this spark that just drew people in, and I was so much wanting the same thing. And now that I have Loki, and this is our first travel, our first plane ride to get down to Florida here and out and about in some different public stuff. He is the exact same thing. He's a beautiful, he's a runt. Actually, he's a little boy, but he draws people in, and people are just constantly, oh my gosh, he's gorgeous. And that's what I wanted. And so I'm just so excited. And there's still a lot of anxiety as I kind of work through this, some of these new things, because it takes time to get that trusted bond, and people have asked me, and maybe some of you have heard me comment on this about how do you know, explain the trust. And I typically will say, well, the next time you're at one of your busy street corners and you're getting ready to cross the road, close your eyes. And think to yourself, when am I going to say forward? When would I step off that curb? And don't open your eyes. I don't really do this, of course, but and you hear traffic crossing, and you might hear sirens and leaf blowers and any amount of ambient noise, and you have to make the decision. You have to get the courage to say forward, asking your dog to move forward, but have the trust in that animal to know that he or she is going to say, we're not going. We're just not going. It's not safe. And that takes time. And it's a heck of a lot of trust. And as a lot of you know, Leader Dog is I think the only school in the Western Hemisphere with the blind deaf program. So now plug your ears and close your eyes. And now when are you going to say forward? Now when are you going to step off the curb? Because you can't even really hear the car. So that whole thing, and then I got to get Loki into my new environment. He's got to learn me a little more in my own hometown, so to speak. And Gracie and I probably took 6 to 8 months to hit there, and I don't really anticipate it being any less with the little guy I got laying next to me here. All I know is that at the end of the day here, I am down in Florida with my son, my daughter-in-law, my grandkids, and again, back in December when this first hit, I would have never imagined that I would be here. And I never imagined I would be here with such a happy, positive attitude that I have. And it's all due to Leader Dogs for the Blind. And I'm just one story of many. Beth mentioned somebody has come back for 10 dogs. I remember Gracie, when I had Gracie and she's in her prime at 5 years going, what are these guys, what are they whining about? It's life. Eventually the dog's going to retire and you're going to get another one. And what a stupid thing for me to think, because boy, did I learn my lesson when it happened to me. It was one of the most dramatic, emotional, crushing times of my life. And it's all gone. It's absolutely all gone. Gracie is up in Michigan with staying with my sister, and that was really hard to do, to leave her. But she knows my sister very well, and she's been to their house several times. So I've been getting lots of pictures, and she's eating lots of ice cubes and being Gracie. But she's totally blind, and she runs into everything all the time. And it's a heartbreak to watch her. But I'm trying to give her the happiest and best retirement that I can. And when it comes time, it's time. But until then, I'm going to give her everything I can because she gave me so much. So that's kind of my story, folks. And I sure wish I could. I sure wish I could do it live and let you. I don't know. I don't know if you can even see this guy laying down there at my side, the little runny guy. But he's a beautiful boy, and I wouldn't be where I'm at without the organization. And obviously, a lot of you have heard me say the organization would not be where it's at without the work of the Lions clubs. And I've been blessed to travel around the country and speak to several different organizations, whether it be banquets, conventions, or just meetings. And I'm constantly floored with the attitude of giving that the Lions organization puts forth. And in a time that seems to have a lot of negativity in it, if you will, to sit here tonight and see so many people join on Zoom, it lifts my heart, because I know that no matter what, I know there are still a lot of good people out here, out there, and I'm talking to some here tonight. So I wish I could see y'all, sort of see y'all. I guess I can't really see y'all. Because I don't know if you know, I don't see very well. And I hope that you invite me back out there to hit it live sometime. Beth, I think that's it, unless you can think of something that, or Mike, if you guys think of something you want me to touch on. Other than that, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to entertain. And again, you guys that know me, no questions off the board. I got thick skin, ask whatever you want.
Sometimes that's scary when Jeff says that he'll take any question, because as you all know, Jeff has a couple of really great stories. And you're going to have to invite Jeff out to the 22s, just so that Loki can also meet Charlie and find him in a room full of strangers as well. He's got a pretty high bar to live up to. Kathleen, do we have any questions in the chat? Or did anybody want to raise their hand?
Right now, there was just a question about kind of a little bit about Jeff's background. What vision does he have? I also think, what do you want to do now? You got Loki. What's the, and when you got Loki and a vaccine, where are you going next?
Well, yeah. Thank you. I'm 64 this year, and I was diagnosed in I don't know what the year was. But anyways, when I was about 21 years old, I just came out of college to start my career as a paramedic, as many of you know, and at the same time, went to get my driver's license and couldn't pass the vision test. And up until that point, I had no idea that I was having any eye troubles anyways. I thought I was seeing fine, but I couldn't pass the test. And so after about 6 months of some concerning times, as they were talking about cancers and tumors on my optic nerves and different things, they finally settled on I have a form of juvenile macular degeneration. It's not the age-related macular degeneration that there's a lot of treatments and therapies for this day. It's a dry version. It typically affects somebody in a very young age, some people as young as 3 years old, but it's a slow progressing disease. So I was able to actually work as a paramedic for almost 25 years before I had to retire. And come on in, guys, don't worry. My grandkids and family just walked in. So, but anyways, so the disease that I was diagnosed with is called Stargardt. And it's simply just a juvenile form of macular degeneration. And over time, it will rob me of my vision. And they told me as I get older, it'll get worse. And that's what I was thinking about earlier. I lost a lot more vision this year, which made it a lot more difficult for me. Where I plan to go in the future, honestly, I'm here. I'm sitting here looking at the Atlantic Ocean, and that the video that you all watched was something, a couple days after learning about Gracie's vision loss, I contacted Melissa and at Leader Dog and said, hey, what do you think of this idea? I'd love to make a transition video from dog to dog, and I want to do it to honor the legacy of Gracie, because again, she did so much, not only advocating for the blind and visually impaired, but she helped raise a lot of money for the school. She helped you guys raise a lot of money at different times at different events. And so I wanted to do something to honor her. And they, of course, jumped all over it. And if any of you joined at at the Dinner in the Dark, it was premiered there. And so with that video now being out there, my phone is ringing off the hook. And I now have speaking events, I think probably maybe 10 in the next 5 weeks. And I expect that number to grow. So what I plan to do is continue to advocate for this school, continue to advocate for the Lions organizations. And to me, very important to allow people to know that I'm advocating for the blind and visually impaired, that we are not sitting on the corner with tin cups and white canes collecting nickels. We are out there trying to live productive lives. And you all know there are many clients that are, there's doctors, there's lawyers, there's teachers, there's a judge, it's across the board. This organization helps everybody, and that's my goal, is to just keep going, doing whatever I can, and then on a personal note is just being as happy as I can and living every day and trying not to let any light pass me by. Is that a good answer?
That's a great answer. That's a great answer. Thank you, Jeff. And by the way, there's about 100 people on this call. Very
right
cool.
on. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? So one of the questions was, did you have any trouble going down there? I know airlines have tightened their restrictions on service dogs. Was there anything extra you had to do or any issues going down this time?
Yeah, no, not really. This particular time I came down on Southwest and all they required was the Department of Transportation form. And it was very simple. It's very simple to get, and it was no big deal. For the most part, what I've been able to learn is that the real difficulty of getting on a plane with a dog now is mostly deals with the emotional support animals because of all the abuse. Everybody is trying to skip paying the freight for their dog, so they put a bandana on it that they got on the internet. So most of the real tough stuff, a lot of paperwork, is emotional support dogs. As I look through all the airlines, as far as the leader dogs or the guide dogs, if you will, it's pretty straightforward. It's just the Department of Transportation form, but was not difficult. And Southwest was fantastic with her. With her. I'm going to give him a client complex because I'm always calling him a her, but they were fantastic with him. I typically will fly Delta, and they've always been fantastic. So I don't anticipate any problems, and it wasn't difficult.
Great. Another question was a little bit about, more generally, how long does a person train to get their guide dog? You mentioned 9 days, but I think that was a home delivery or a one-on-one delivery. What's a little more typical training schedule? And is there such a thing as being unsuccessful? What happens if people don't make it? Or maybe you could speak to the individual kind of training issues also.
Yeah. Well, with Gracie, I was brand new to the program. So somebody that's coming in for their first dog, you move right into the campus. For any of you that have been there, there's a beautiful residence hall. You move right into the campus. And I lived there for 26 days. And, you get 3 great meals a day, and it's just great, fantastic time. You get to just relax and be a blind person, if you will. You don't have any other fears or anxieties. You get to just concentrate on bonding with that dog and going out every day, where you're training in the streets or in the malls. You might be I was in the casino. I was on a people mover in Detroit. We walked around the big cities. We're in the Targets, the Myers, grocery stores. anywhere where you would conceivably use the dog, we trained there. And we did that for 26 days. And that's about what it takes. Now with Loki, as I had mentioned, I know a lot of the basics. So I had to learn because the training has changed in 10 years. So there were a few things that I needed to learn. But I'm also a fairly confident dog handler, so I'm pretty comfortable to start with. So I was able to get through it probably a little quicker, but typically a returning client, as I understand it, is not much more than about 10 days or so, unless there's issues. And yes, there are times that it doesn't work. It doesn't happen very often, and but there are times where maybe the bond just doesn't happen, or there's some other little quirky thing, and I'm sure a client has gone home without a dog and had to come back. I know me in particular, I'm having an issue with Loki walking in my own area where suddenly she just locks up on the sidewalk for no apparent reason, and I mean just locks up like we're about to get hit by a car. And she does it. She started to do it almost every time I walk in the morning now. I do about 3 to 4 miles each morning walk, and there's no real reason why she's doing it. So other than I think she just gets startled or fear. So I called my trainer, and when I get back next week, my trainer's coming out to the house and is going to kind of shadow behind me so she can watch this behavior. And again, that's the beauty of the organization. They don't just dump you out the door and say, good luck, I hope it works. They are there well into the future with any of your needs. So I'm confident that Loki and I will work through this issue. But quite frankly, I have to face the reality that maybe he won't, and I may be career changing a dog again. And again, I don't anticipate that even happening. But there are clients that there are quirky things that happen, and Leader Dog is quick to get out there because their number one priority is to make sure that that client is traveling safely and that the dog is being kept safe. But number one is to make sure that that dog is doing the job that it needs to do, and it's not going to do anything that will hurt that client. So it does happen, and I'm honestly not the one to ask how often, but I think I can confidently say it doesn't happen an awful lot.
I can chime in on that. It's Beth, and it doesn't happen very often. We try to match the dogs with the clients, the type of environment they're going to be in. Do they travel a lot like Jeff, or do they, is maybe their daily commute just heading to their mailbox, which could be a couple miles down the road. But just like Jeff said, we always work to make sure that that the client and the dog are working at their max capacity together too. So our guide dog mobility instructors are really well trained in that, to say if there's an issue, let's figure out what it is. For every class that is in session, we always have a holdover, a couple of extra dogs, just in case maybe they don't make that bond and they might need to switch it out. So we look at every person as an individual and every dog as an individual as well. So sometimes it takes a little matchmaking. Kathleen, do you have another question?
Sorry, I muted. No, there's just a comment that people are just so excited to see you again, Jeff, and had the pleasure of meeting you. And it's just great to have you be a part of this. And I think from the Leader Dogs perspective, we're just so excited to see all of you. It's just been wonderful to have this opportunity to meet with you, and thank you. Are there any folks on the phone that want to unmute? I know you can't type into the chat, so unmute and ask a question. Not yet. So maybe final thoughts, Jeff?
Yeah, just again, a huge thank you to all you guys. And I see what you do, because I did your rally there a few weeks ago, and I see the power that side of the country has, and it's pretty dang amazing. I got to talk with some of your lioness groups, and it was just an amazing thing. And I'm so happy that that y'all are still so engaged in what I just got to imagine is a very hard fundraising environment for y'all. I mean, I know you do things within your community, yet you're still continuing to help this organization, which helps me. And I don't know, stay strong. You know, we all know it's going to get normal, and you'll get out there raising the big bucks again. But I wish that I had a bigger, like a giant 900 square foot TV that I could see your faces, so I could see some of you that I remember. But mostly just thank you, and understand that when you watch that video, remember that, because it is a powerful, powerful thing that I went through, and so many of our clients have gone through when you transition from dog to dog. I had no clue how hard it was going to hit me, and I have a whole found respect for the people that have done it 3, 4, 5, 10 times. But I know I'll be much better at it next time, but I don't know that it'll be any easier. So again, God bless you all, and thank you for everything you do. And maybe you'll invite me out live someday, and I'll get Bob Jones to drive me around. Him and Cheryl, they're good taxi drivers.
They are pretty good. Once they have the keys in the ignition, they're off, as a matter of fact. I don't know if anybody noticed in the video, I believe there was Salisbury Lions Club was actually, you could see their banner in the background.
Yeah.
Way to go, Marilyn. So you know what, Jeff, next time you get the invite, maybe I'll just drive you out there, and we'll swing through Frostburg again and work our way through the 22 W's and down. So thanks for sharing. This is a little bit of a story, a part of the journey that we don't usually touch on, because it is usually so emotional. And Jeff, we want to thank you and Linda, because she is always your support. That's always right over your shoulder. We always get to see her, but she's a pretty big advocate for the Jeff Hawkins client services.
The other beautiful blonde in my life.
Yeah, you've got a lot of pretty beautiful blondes in your life, Jeff. With that said, Mike, do you have any last words? And then we're going to hand it over, because PDG Bob has a 50-50 that if this hasn't been a beautiful enough evening, someone's going to wrap this up even better.
Beth, just one comment. Is there any other multiple that does what multiple 22 does?
No.
This is
That's
very
an easy
unique
answer.
in the Lions world. Certainly we have Parade of Checks or Green or whatever it is, but you're the only multiple district that does this specifically for leader dogs for the blind. We can't thank you enough. You set the bar so high for everything else out there. And Jeff is right. We have to credit you as Lions for the support, unbelievable support you give leader dogs for the blind, which enable us to give out Gracie's and Loki's and hear the journey that he's taken and shared with you this evening. So thank you so much. And Jeff, I don't know, I get blown away every time I have an opportunity to listen to what you talk about, the passion, the emotion you have in it, and the bearing of your soul, if you will, with all of us, to really get a sense of what it's like to go through the trauma, anxiety, and challenges you've gone through. And I just want to comment on Linda one time too. She's amazing.
Yeah, right on.
Hi, Beth. This is Mike Miles with Salisbury Lions. I see that you're recording the session.
Yes. Yes, everybody, you're being recorded.
Will you be distributing a link to that to those who attended, or at least to the districts individually, so the district secretaries can send it back out?
Absolutely. You know what? Share it with all of the Lions in MD22 and beyond. If anybody would like a presentation for their club, I'll go on and put that in here as well. We've all done presentations in MD22 to clubs, and we love to share this. And Jeff is more than happy to jump on a lot as well, because we know where he lives, and now we can get him all the time. So please do invite us in for club visits, more district stuff. But just to Mike's point, MD22 is the only multiple district that does this, and we're really thrilled. So thank you.
Again, this was a fantastic presentation, a great evening, get everybody together. Jeff, thank you, obviously.
Thank you.
All the efforts of the multiple district. This is excellent to share with members. It's also could be a unique method as a recruiting tool for new members to get folks to know exactly some of the multiple things that we do as Lions. So again, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
you.
Because, Mike will always tell you that not many people join Lions because they want to sit in a meeting. And we're Lions, so we can say that. They like to see what the projects are. What is it that we support as Lions, and what is it that we do? So we're very fortunate that we get to see a lot of the end results. We get to see Jeff frequently, but a lot of times you don't get to see the people that you serve. And we like to share that story. So past District Governor Bob Jones, are you here?
I am here.
Oh. And your special guests.
Yes, I have two little puppies here. They're looking for a new home. I want to thank all of the Lions from Multiple District 22 that donated to the 50-50. We sold 1,975 tickets to the tune of $1,300. So the winner is going to get $650. I have put the numbers in this automatic generator that was lent to me by Lion Bruce Marvel out of Dover. And all I got to do is push the button and a number's going to pop up. If it's your number, you win the money. So here we go. I don't even have a drum. If I had a drum, I'd drum roll. 645. And Vanna's looking up the number. Oops.
Hey.
Okay, the money goes to Linda Oliver,
Ocean City Lioness.
Ocean City Lioness. So that's where we are. And now for the puppies.
Party's at now.
Say what?
I said, we know where the party's at now.
There you go. Okay, we're gonna push this button one more time.
I know how to get to Ocean City.
And we have 161 for the blonde puppy.
Sandy Halterman.
Oh, no, not Sandy Halderman. Huh. We know her. Then we're gonna push it again. 820. John Newsier. From where? Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's it. I have phone numbers and emails. You'll be contacted by us, and we'll get the puppy sent to you, and I'll mail the check to you. Again, I want to thank everybody. Kathleen, you said there was 100 on?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's phenomenal, and I appreciate it. With that being recorded, and I know where Beth lives too, but most of the time anyhow. So I can get that sent out or get it sent to whatever district, whatever club, we can make this happen. So Beth, thank you. Jeff, good seeing you again. You're a little bit red around you're a little red around the edges.
Yeah. I'm on vacation. I've been drinking. No.
Mike, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yep, and Kathleen, I think Melissa's somewhere in the background pushing buttons.
We've got everybody. It takes a village,
It takes a village.
So thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
And thanks to Bob Jones for putting this all together.
What was that?
Thanks to Bob Jones for putting this together. He's a great leader.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, and we will see 22W in just a few short weeks, and we'll keep the rally going.
Yeah, April 29th.
All right. Everybody be safe. We'll stay on for a few more minutes if anybody wants to chit chat for a few minutes, and then it's time to go home before the traffic gets. John Lawrence is sitting in traffic, so we'll let him get going.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night. Good night.
Bye. Thank you.
Everybody have a safe trip home.
Bye.
Bye.
Make sure you tip your waitresses on the way out. Use the restrooms before heading out.
Beth, are you coming down to Maryland anytime?
Well, do you know, as a matter of fact, my mom is flying up tomorrow.
Oh,
Yay. So if things go right, we should have our second immunization in another 2 weeks. And I actually should be heading towards Rehoboth Beach. Some of my girlfriends have one of my girlfriends has a summer place there, and we were supposed to go this past year, and of course couldn't do it, but everybody seems to be getting up to that point that we might be able to actually pull this off this year. So I might have a vacation just down the street.
Hey, Bob Jones,
call me, I'll come up.
I'll let you know.
are you going to have any announcements for donations?
Me?
No, Bob Jones.
Oh, I was going to say, yes, donate often and frequently.
I had not planned on doing that, Dave.
Okay. We normally do that at the individual get-togethers, like at 22D, I know.
I have not put anything together, so I couldn't do that.
Okay. And I'll take my check back.
No, you can't do that.
I'm gonna send it to Beth.
Yeah, thanks, Ben.
You can trust it's in good hands. I'll
That's
swing
my-
by their house and pick it up.
That's my son. He doesn't know what he's doing half the time.
I'll go along with that.
We've all spent so much quality time with our spouses.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna run. Thank you for everybody for all that you did putting this together, and it's been fun.
Thank you,
And we'll
Lois.
see you.
Thanks for taking care of
All
Little
right.
Harper.
See you, Lois.
Okay, yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night,
Night.
everybody.
Good night, everybody. Great job.